Well, there is a ton of stuff going on the Appalachian Trail this week, folks. We have just got tons of things going on. Lots of people have already started and reporting in to me, and then lots of people are really a ton are getting ready to start this coming week, and the bubbles just starting to expand and just blossom out there. So it's really neat to see what's going on. Let's go ahead and find out who is out there on the trail. So we got Waffle and Hawkeye, their father and son team. They have attempted before, had to get off trail, and they are back on trail, starting completely anew down at Springer, and so they are just loving it, and they are getting ready to come into Dix Creek Gap. So hopefully the second time's a charm for them. Night Shift, he has made it to Hot Springs, and he wanted to go ahead and send us some trail conditions for the folks that are coming up behind him, and particularly those that are directly behind him, and some folks that are coming through the Smokies. So between Fontana Dam and Hot Springs, he said that the warm, dry weather and the clear skies has helped to get a lot of the snowpack down a little bit coming through the Smokies, but he did say it is still extremely tough and dangerous to hike through in some areas. He said he had to break about 15 miles of trail of fresh snow, and by breaking trail, that means nobody's hiked through there before, and you're the person left to start the first footprints. There's nobody else that is there that you can walk through their footprints to make it a whole lot easier, and that is really tough going. It looks like it's probably around at least calf high where he's hiking through there, and but he broke it for about 15 miles until he came across some Sobos obviously in the opposite direction from 2023 who were finishing up their hike. He said the snow was pretty much constant from Thunderhead Mountain to Tri-Corner Knob Shelter, which is about 40 miles through there, and after that it eased up a little bit. In that 40-mile snow stretch, he said there was miles and miles of post holing, and so post holing is when you take a step and it's like a post hole that you've just taken a post out of the ground. So it's that deep when you're coming through there. And he said because of that, he's tweaked his knee a little bit. And some of those post holes were frozen solid. Some were 3 to 12 inches deep. So that's getting close to knee high. And he tweaked his knee a little bit. So he's had a bad limp for about the past 60 miles, but he said he is still making progress. He says anyone that hiking the Smokies, they really need to have micro spikes through there. So, micro spikes are really mainly for icy conditions. They kind of get wadded up with snow and snowy condition, but there's places through there where there may not be any snow because it's blown, but there are places that are like kind of almost a ledge walk that are icy, that the sun can hit, cause it to melt, and then it refreezes. And so you're going to need microspikes in those areas. He says the snow doesn't seem like it will melt for another week or two due to it being so much shade in some of the ridgeline areas. So particularly this time of year, you get on the eastern side of the trails on the eastern side of the ridge. It's not getting a lot of sun because the sun stays pretty low in the sky, and so it's probably not going to melt through there, particularly at altitude when you're coming through the Smokies or really anywhere. You're getting up on in altitude there. It does not tend to melt near as quickly. And then from 2023, we got Aristotle and MacGyver, also known as Salamander and Hungry Bird. They are going to be finishing here, hopefully finishing sometime around February 20th. So maybe another 2 weeks out there. So their family members sent in that they had been on the trail for 9 months. And they said that she had her 2 sons and Hungry Bird, who I take it is the girl here in this picture. They met on their very first day at Harper's Ferry. So that is really cool that they have been together and they are finishing together. So they will have all celebrated a birthday on the trail, and tomorrow is MacGyver's. He will be 17. MacGyver's the one in the blue picture here. So very, very cool there. Thanks for sending that in. And then 111, he is entered the Smokies, and he sends in this trail video with some really good advice. So take it away, 111.
All right, Ramdino, this is for you. I waited my whole life to get here to get ready to put my permit in the permit box. So I thought, what a nice day. What a sweet moment. I'm going to enjoy myself some chocolate. So for everybody out there that's getting ready to do this, bring yourself a treat for when you do something like this, because this is awesome. All right, whether it's a good day, bad day, it doesn't matter. This is probably one of the coolest things I've ever done. So whoever's coming up behind me or in front of me, hope y'all are having a great day. It's 111. Bye-bye.
And 111 also wanted to reach out to somebody who had lost some gear out there. So he said he found a Hyperlike fanny pack between Birch Tent Site and Molly's Ridge Shelter. So that's coming just right into the Smokies. Molly's Ridge is the first shelter, and Birch's campsite is, the first campsite before Molly's Ridge coming into the Smokies. But he says he can mail it or bail it, meaning he will be glad to tote it. And I'm going to tell you what, that is awful gracious of him, because most time through hikers, they don't want to pack any more than they already have to. Don't want to carry an ounce, much less probably half a pound that this weighs, unless it's got a lot of stuff in it. It may weigh more than that. But he is willing to take it, and he says it's probably Amy's. So don't know who Amy is, but he said it's dirty white and has some cordage and some random items, no personal ID, so no way to tell. He said he'd be glad to carry it to Hot Springs or mail it. So if you will get back to me, I have his phone number. I'll be able to text that to him, whoever it is. And if I'm sure he'll want them to identify that, but he'll be glad to send it to you. So 111, that is awesome of you out there. And really, folks, I mean, 111's, that's great for him doing that, but more times than not, that is indicative of the hiker community. So if you're not part of the hiker community and you never experienced something like that, hikers will just go out of their way to share stuff with each other and to help each other out all the time. So thanks a lot, 111. And then we got Bubba Hikes. He got started. He was hiker number 102. So last week we reported we were up to 101. So he must have got started right after we reported last week. He's made it to Neal's Gap on day 4. So doing well. And he is continuing on to Dix Creek Gap. So appreciate that, Bubba Hikes. And then Boomerang, he should be in the Smokies by now. So thanks a lot for all those folks that reported in to me. If you're out there on the trail and you want to report in, you want to be part of our update this week, each week, the best way for you to do that is to go in the description section, and there you can send me a message through Facebook, Instagram, email works really good down there too. And it's great if you'll send us a selfie where you're at. And then also even a 30-second video is very, very cool for you to send that in. Send those in around midweek. That really helps me out with these end of the week videos and end of the week stuff going on with the channel. So I greatly appreciate that. I will not give out your exact position just because for hiker safety. So go ahead and send those in, folks. Love to have that. More and more folks that are getting on trail, so we'll be having more and more people update. Bon Voyage, she had gotten off trail for a few days because of some, if you recall, a couple of weeks ago, we had some really bad weather, had some bad storms coming in, and she lives near the trail, so she just went ahead and got off to get out of that mess and had plans of getting back on. And then right before she had her husband was going to take her back to the trail, she had to take him to the ER. He got really sick, and he found out that he had stage 4 cancer. So Bon Voyage, I'm very sorry to hear that. God's timing is always perfect. So you were home when he found out, and then you could take him to the ER, and then you could be there with him when he found out. So God's providence is just awesome. However, nobody likes to hear about cancer. That's a result of the fallen world that we live in. And so I will personally be praying for that. If you're a praying person, I'm sure she would appreciate that for her and her husband as they go through this. And whatever you do out there, pray or send them good vibes or what have you. I'm sure they would appreciate any of that. So appreciate that, Bon Voyage, and thank you for sharing that with us and feeling like you could do that. So we got a slew of folks that are starting this week. Before we get to those folks, I want to bring you a little bit more about Element Drink Mix. Well, I'm going to tell you one of the things that I really like about Element Drink Mix is it drastically cuts down pretty much eliminates my cramping out there while I'm on the trail, just due to dehydration and mainly due to not getting the electrolytes that I need while I'm out there on the trail. And so I get headaches, I get cramping at night, and there's nothing worse than getting cramps in your bag at night, because even the bag that I sleep in, it's got a small toe box, and because of that, you can't stretch out really well, and God, those cramps hurt. So, but you don't have to be a hiker to enjoy and to get the benefits out of Element Drink Mix. You could be a soccer mom, NBA, a golfer, somebody that's just working hard around the house like I do when I'm not out there on the trail. All those will help you. An Element Drink Mix will help you to get those electrolytes back in there into your system that you need to prevent having all those issues that you have. So it's got like 1,000 milligrams of sodium, and that is a huge electrolyte that you're missing. 200 milligrams of potassium and 60 milligrams of magnesium. All the good stuff, none of the junk that's in there, none of the fillers, none of just the things that you don't need. So I would very much encourage you to go out there and at least try Element Drink Mix. I don't think that you're ever going to return it, but if you did return it, it's free to return it, and you can keep everything that you've ordered. And for a limited time only right now, if you're one of my subscribers, or even just somebody that watches this, if you'll use my link, then they will give you an 8-pack of free Element Drink Mix that has most of the flavors that they have in it. So that's drinkelement.com/Ramdino. That's DRINKLMNT.com/Ramdino. So if you'll use that link, go there, order whatever you want to. Right now, for a limited time only, they are having special flavors that are kind of a chocolate-based flavor, or got kind of a chocolatey to them, and they go great with coffee. They go great, really great with hot chocolate. So it's a limited time right now during the winter months, but they are going away fast, so I'd encourage you to go and do that. So go and check all that out and get you some Element Drink Mix out there. Get those headaches gone, get those cramps gone, and just enjoy the great taste that it is. Well, I'm going to tell you, I've got some of that chocolate raspberry here in my coffee, and my proud supporter of the Fresh Ground Leapfrog Cafe coffee mug that are available at my merch store. And I'm going to tell you, this stuff is addictive. Love it, love it. All right, so who's starting out there? We got Boomer, he's starting. We got Robert DeRosiers Jr. Sorry, Robert, I'm sure I screwed that up. Loghead, Karen G, Larry Carico, Doc Livewire, Scott Jen, and Wendy. Awesome. Going to have 3 folks hiking there together. Brian and Angela Sally, which is also known as Gung Ho and Roots. Moses, Joel M, Tango Mike, John Richter, Matthew, Eric Jefferson, Sunshine and Patches, Chuck Howell, Christopher Carter, Scott Free, and Chuck Howell. So all those folks are starting over the next coming week. So you can tell that in previous episodes here, we've only had, 4 or 5, and now we've got over a dozen there. So that's awesome to hear all those folks started. I can't wait to see them going on. Can't wait to see what's going on with their social media and just their updates sent into the channel. So please send those in to us, folks, because as a hiker community, we want to know how things are going for you. So send those in. Also had a lot of new hikers that have been added to my support list lately. We're somewhere around 130 now. Last year, I think we were around about 230, but of course the census is down this year, so don't expect we're going to get that far along. But if you want to be on that support list and you want the hiker community to go out there and be able to find your channel or Instagram or Facebook or Trail Journal or however you're doing it, I don't do TikTok, but you're welcome to put TikTok on there if you want to. Don't want to share anything with the Chinese, but that's your thing. Then folks will support you that do TikTok. So go to that support list. The link's down below to add yourself to it. And also the link, if you want to go and find out who's on that and all their social media, that is down in the description section as well. So go and check that out. Currently, we've had 144 folks or hikers that have stepped off at Amicalola Falls State Park or Springer Mountain, or these folks have actually signed in to the log down at Amicalola Falls State Park. Some have taken the approach trail. Of course, part of the approach trail is closed this year due to construction going on around the reflecting pond at the falls, so you can't do the whole thing. But other folks have done part of it, and then some folks just go right to Springer. So we've had 144 step off, and which means last week we were at 102, the last tag that I saw, and this week we're at 144. So we've had around 42-ish that have stepped off, and that is actually a little behind where the registrations are. So we're going to look at some revealing charts on the registrations here in just a minute. So registrations continue to climb. Actually, we lost a little bit on Sobos, but last week we had 1,874 NOBO. This week we have 2,085, so that's a total increase of 211 from last week. Flip-floppers, we were at 90, now we're at 100, so that's 10 we've increased. And Sobo, we were at 54, now we're at 51. So that's a -3 folks that have canceled their hike. So that gives us a total over last week. We were at 2018. This week we're at 2,236. So that means we have come up with the registrations of 218 folk. So the negative number there, thank you, whoever canceled your hike. Greatly appreciate that. A lot of people, they sign up and then they don't cancel their hike. And so it slews the number, slews the data in the wrong direction, or just gives us false data. And so if you do cancel your hike, please go and cancel your registration. And when you receive your registration, you would have gotten directions to do that. And they're probably online on the ATC website as well. So thanks a lot for those people that did that. And like I said before, each week the number of thru hiker registrations continues to be down, continues to trend down over what it has in the past. This week we had 2,236. This time last year, not total last year, but this time last year, February 11th-ish last year, we were at, of 2023, we were at 2,621. In 2022, we were over 3,000 at 3,046. 2021, we were still higher than where we are now, 2,676. And then in 2020, we were at 2,130. So we are trending back down to where we were. So we may be down. However, keep in mind, though, that people will continue to register as the days go by. A lot of times people are not registered at all, and they show up down at Amicalola Falls State Park to get their bag tag, and they have them registered with the ATC down there. So it's not a requirement for you to register with the ATC. It actually may be to get a bag tag. I'm not sure. You do have to sit in on the classes they have, but they're just real quick, short classes, so it doesn't take long to sit for that. Maybe 15, 20 minutes, I think, something like that. But the bubble hadn't really started yet, but this weekend really kind of marks the point where the bubble really starts taking off. So you can see these diagrams here where after February the 11th, the bubble will really start going. But it's not building as high as it has in the past years. So the chart of today and these other charts I'm going to show there for the whole year, meaning this was all the registrations for the entire year with the exception of this year, because obviously not everybody's registered for this year or not. So here's 2023, and you can see the curve there is much steeper than what we're currently experiencing. Here in 2022, we were really jam-packed with hikers. 2023 was a big year, but 2022 was really a huge year, and that was due to pent-up demand from COVID. And then going back all the way to 2018, while it's much more moderate pre-COVID, it's still higher than what we are currently at this year. However, that's a full year's worth of registrations as opposed to the one for this year, which is not a full year's worth of registration. So we will see. We've got a few weeks for hikers to continue to add there. I don't expect it to get back to those levels, and we may actually be below the 2018 levels. Currently, we still only have 2 dates that are maxed out for more than 50 people on the trail. So that's pretty interesting here. So we got a little bit of news going on out there on the trail. Before you do that, let me ask you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and leave me a comment. Always love all your comments. Ask me a question. I'll be glad to answer that question. If I don't know the answer, I'll go and find it. And if I can't find it, I'll make something up that sounds really plausible. And give me a thumbs up. All those really help drive traffic to this channel. And the idea behind that is that the more people we can get watching this, the more people we can become part of the hiker community and can be supporting the thru hikers out there on the trail. So that's the big thing that we want to do, is support the thru hikers and build the hiker community. And speaking of support out there, I want to thank Milan Busic, I believe is how that's pronounced, for a super thanks. Thank you very much. That was awful gracious of you to do that. So Milan, I greatly appreciate that. Thanks for believing in what I do here, and thanks for believing in the channel. There's other ways you can go out there and support, just your subscriptions and comments and thumbs up support and drive folks to the channel. But certainly your super thanks help this channel, help me support other folks out there on the trail. And of course, I have a Patreon account. You can go and become a Patreon member, support me each month automatically. All those things help what you do. But thank you for your support out there, and thank you for the kind words. I'm constantly having people send in kind words, and this is really a labor of love for me, and I do it for the hiker community, not for myself or anything else. This is a community channel, so I am just the person that is putting together the information and getting it out there to the masses. And I appreciate the folks that write in and tell me how much it helps them and that they use it as a tool. And I'm not tooting my own horn here, so don't believe that. I'm trying to convince you to help me build the channel to reach more people out there. But I had a person that sent in, and this is really just an example, that said next year, or they gave their name, and they said, next year I'll be 100% be starting my thru hike in Georgia. Love your videos and taking some of the knowledge and applying it in my own in some ways. Just wanted to say I appreciate what you do for the hiking community and the AT. So that means the world to me. And that's why I try to put out whatever information I can find out there to help folks out there on the trail so that they can prepare for next year. And then also, I also have my own trail videos of my own hikes. I am currently section hiking, trying to finish the entire Appalachian Trail as a section hiker before I do it as a thru hiker. And so there are people that go and watch those videos, and I've had them tell me before that they watched all those videos so that kind of prepare them for what they were going to expect on that particular section. So that's awesome out there. And then also another support person we got out there is Fresh Ground and the Leapfrog Cafe. So you know who Fresh Ground is. If you don't, Fresh Ground is a trail angel, and he spends 9 months out of the year living out of a van and feeding hikers out of a van. And not only thru hikers, but section hikers, day hikers, and people that are just hiking in the parking lot. He will feed you out there on the trail. If you've never been fed by Fresh Ground, you have truly missed it. So one of the ways that you can support him is that over on my merch store, I have got these awesome, proud supporter of the Fresh Ground Leapfrog Cafe from 2024. So you can go and get your Element drink mix and put it in there and purchase one of these, and each one of a portion of the proceeds from this, and I've also got a shirt with this logo on it. A portion of that will go to the Leapfrog Cafe, and so go and check that out. And then, of course, I also mentioned last week that this will be the last week that we have some Valentine's Day mugs out there. So go and check out your Valentine's Day mug and buy one for your sweetie and share that while you're having coffee or tea or whatever you drink out of your mugs there. But a portion of all that goes to Fresh Ground and the Leapfrog Cafe. And you should be aware that the support money that he gets coming in, Fresh Ground tithes from that. So the Leapfrog Cafe is a 501c3 ministry. So anything you give to that will come off on your taxes. It's tax deductible. And like any ministry, he believes in tithing. And so by tithing, I mean he gives 10% of what comes in to other, mainly other trail angels out there. So there are other trail angels that the Leapfrog Cafe supports, sends them 10% of what y'all give him to as part of what they do for hikers on the trail, feeding hikers on the trail. He has sent money to Trail Angels to fix their vehicles when they were broken down or something like that. So he's sent money to missionaries who were through hikers that have gone on to be missionaries in another country. We did that last year for a girl, and I can't remember her name, but she takes food to down in South America to villages the poor people that don't have food. And so she takes that to them on her moped and her scooter, and her scooter was broke down. And so the Fresh Ground and Leapfrog Cafe send a tithe to her to fix up that scooter, and then continue to support her in a small way, get help so that she could continue to purchase food and to take to these people that did otherwise may not be eating. So that is just a little bit of the person that Fresh Ground is and what the Leapfrog Cafe is. So your support that you give him goes far further than you realize that it goes. And I wanted you to realize that how far that it does go. It reaches really at this point, maybe not necessarily worldwide, but definitely hemisphere wide. So on this side of the world anyway. And then some more news out there. So this is the time of year when there are prescribed burns that are starting in Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, and Tennessee, and on up into Virginia, really. And so they'll be, when the conditions are right, they will be burning prescribed burns. So they'll be burning the underbrush to keep it from, causing a full-blown forest fire, and certainly to eliminate the fuel there or help with that, to prevent fires from getting larger than they should. And so if you smell smoke in the woods, that may be what it is. Typically they try to do it where they don't close down a trail, but if they do close down a trail, it will be posted, and you need to make sure you adhere to that. But just know, just because you smell smoke in the woods, it may not be a prescribed burn. So I would go ahead and call, particularly if you see it, I would call 911 and let them know. They'll already know if there's a burn going on in the area. So it doesn't hurt to call 911. Not that many people calling 911 for a fire from the trail, so it's not like you're going to overwhelm them or cause them an inconvenience or anything like that. And as the leading edge of hikers gets closer and closer to the Triple Crown up in Virginia, so that's going to be maybe a couple weeks yet, but the Triple Crown, of course, is that 21-mile area there from Dragon's Tooth to McAfee Knob to Tinker Cliffs. And as they get closer and closer to that, you need to realize that the parking lot there at McAfee Knob is closed. So they are putting in a pedestrian overpass so people don't have to run across the road there. That's kind of a blind curve, particularly coming around the curve from the west, and it's going downhill, and somebody's going to get run over there. So they're building a pedestrian bridge there, but the parking lot while they're doing it is closed. So you need to know that that is not a bailout point for you. So just be careful when you're in that area. Folks, that's all I got this week. As always, appreciate you, and we'll see you out there.